welcome to the Filter Free Podcast. I am your host, TJ Stevens.
Problematic.
Sound out of my left earbud.
Getting off to a banging start here.
Joining me, as always,
Step ends.
Dollar Bill Dave.
I touch myself.
I just need to clip that. Just Dave leaning for I touched myself.
And Timmy C.
Goo, goo, goo.
Dave's is awesome, and he got a new hat, and it's hilarious. Are you drunk, yes or no? And it's marked on the right-hand side for both.
Time limit drawers get my panties wet. I love it.
We've covered this butt wipe on a few different occasions.
Butt wipe?
You don't call people butt wipe anymore?
No. I'm not 7. Good news is I've limited the producer's amount to screw us over this, so we're actually going to get to sing along with the songs now. You are welcome.
You gotta fight for your right to party! Hello and welcome to the Filter Free Podcast. I am your host, TJ Stevens.
Step ins.
Joining me, as always, Dollar Bill Dave.
Live from Alabama.
Whoa, it's official. He's there. Already hates his job. He's worked there 12 hours. Not even. 8.
9, 18,
And his kid's already Hillbilly Jim.
27 hours.
His utter return to Hillbilly Jill. Timmy C's here from Kane Tuck.
I got dog.
There's a dog in the background just sleeping very weirdly.
See how
He's
big
not
the dog-
even sleeping. He's just listening. He enjoys this podcast so much, he listens like he's dead.
I think most of our listeners do. I can name a couple off the top of my head, actually.
Speaking of which, our new episode dropped like 30 seconds ago as we're recording this. Because someone decided to steal all the information and keep it to themselves.
It's me, and I'm not good at it. Also, Timmy, while you're sitting here criticizing people, I think you need to check which microphone you're using, because it sounds like you're talking into a Campbell soup can. You jerk.
That's totally your fault.
Is it? It's my fault.
If you hear a lot of background noise today, that's me.
Am I better?
Because I'm
Yes.
not in a real house yet. We're staying in
I-
a rental.
I do appreciate you listening to me for the last half hour on that other mic and then
You sounded
deciding
fine
to
till
wait
we-
until we're a minute into the show to say something.
You sounded fine until we got started. And Dave's recording in an ice fishing shanty in Alabama. It's weird they have one down there, but
I don't think there's an ice fishing shanty anywhere in Alabama.
There is. There's 2 of them.
Ice
Two.
fishing?
And I'm renting one.
up in the mountains of
They're,
Alabama.
they're cabins down there.
It's a cottage.
Chalet. It's a chalet.
So as Timmy kind of alluded to earlier, this is episode 2 of us here on the Premier Streaming Network. What? And this week we're going in the Wayback Machine. I'm pretty sure none of us were alive for this show. Timmy, were you alive for this show? Of course, you were 11, but
I was graduating college this year.
I was graduating from Princeton. You didn't go to Princeton. Who are we kidding? So wherever you
It was
listen to this podcast,
Princetown Community College.
there you go. That's fair. Wherever you get this show, when we decide to drop it on time, you should subscribe, rate, and review. Tell everyone how you like it. Tell Premier
it
Streaming
again.
Network how well you like it.
Twice.
3 times. Get some new emails and just start making accounts for stuff. While you're at it, follow the show on Twitter at FF Popcast, on Instagram at Filter Free Popcast. Follow the network, our Patreon on Twitter at Filter Free Net. Of course, what would this be if we did not mention Watch
new
on
home?
Premiere at Watch on Premiere for Premier Streaming Network for all the great shows. One of a pod, everyone has a pod. House of Wrestling. Josh Chernoff is a wonderful host, an
I just
interviewer.
lost an earbud.
Dave just lost an earbud, coughing or sneezing, one or the other. But if you go to our Patreon page, Timmy, what's on the agenda over yonder?
Well, you will get me pulling up the information here because I am so disheveled at this point
Have you?
that I don't
forgotten
know
we do
what
on
I
Patreon?
don't know if I'm pitching or catching. What is going? Jesus.
Where?
You will get cut. Hold on.
Cut. He said cut. Time out.
Yep. I didn't have the format pulled up. Why do I have a separate copy of it, by the way?
I don't know,
Oh,
man.
Here we go. This is going to be.
Actually, the copy I have, Dave did not put in notes for the last story.
My copy's good. I think.
Okay.
My copy, Dave doesn't have any notes in, so I'm
Well,
going to.
Timmy, go ahead and tell them what's on Patreon while we figure out this notes
Oh,
review.
yeah, I did notes on Tom Brokaw.
Here we go.
I'm leaving that in just so everyone knows.
Well, you will get
My bad.
our best show other than this one, Evolution of Evil. You will get this show early and not with the video, but you'll get it early on the Patreon. You will get bro. All right, we're going to start out over again. Let me make sure I have the right format. Okay. I've got Dave in this one. You will get Legends. Let's rethink this fall. And in fact, it's about a month away, Dave?
We're getting there.
You will get footballers getting paid with Tim and Dave. Although Timmy C has been getting paid with Cincinnati and the Reds because everyone thinks they're going to lose every game.
Go Cubs, go.
And
Well, yeah, they lost 20-9 yesterday.
Cubs
that's
are
it's one game. It counts as one game.
Cubs.
You're
going to
have to be my
coming
bookie
back.
now, Tim. There's no more betting in Alabama. I can't live like this.
Kentucky actually gets, because I have to drive to Tennessee, which is 9 miles away. And Tennessee's only like 20 miles
25.
away for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to drive to the kitchen.
Well, Kentucky should be legal by October, so I won't have to get up every Sunday morning and drive 10 miles to place my bets. But pay attention to what we're saying because we will get you paid. You will also get the best show on the network other than this one, Evolution of Evil. It's probably the best because me and Dave aren't on it. And we've been replaced by the fun director, Justin and Amy, who are far nicer people than Dave and I.
Definitely Amy.
But if you need some a-hole in your life, you can get Wrestling with Commercials, which me and Dave are back on. And if Steppins isn't working evenings, he can make it.
It'll probably pick back up when I
get settled
to
in
my house.
When Dave gets out of the shanty, we'll probably start that up again. Plus our 2023 list of whatever it is we might end up doing. I can't say bus rides because I don't think we got a bus ride going. Events, we're hoping to get a couple of events.
Y'all gonna do All Out?
It's in the works.
Something like that. We'll see.
And maybe one other show before the year's over.
It might just be better to just do the bus ride to All Out. Or no, it's not even at whatever the place is.
Say United Center this year.
Yeah. So no travel issues. No bus.
I'll drive my wife's minivan.
Uber. Don't Uber.
Why?
Because you won't get one coming back. Remember the All Out bullshit?
Yeah, but it's not the same place. It's at the United Center. It's closer to downtown. It's not out in BFE, which isn't even really part of Chicago. Hoffman Estates.
True. Anything else? I mean, what's on your guys' mind? Anything else we should discuss before we get going here? We're off to a killer start.
I tell you.
Just so
27 minutes in already?
Bunch of professionals on this network, and then these three clowns show up. Why isn't my format up here?
we're
Tom Brokaw. Never met her.
That's all your fault. And by the way, I can't wait till we get to that Tom Brokaw story.
Yeah, you're not so good. I enjoyed him. Should we get started? So the fans can hear what we have to say about Tom Brokaw. And they're probably wondering, if you're new to this show, they're going, why do they keep mentioning Tom Brokaw so much? Well, you'll learn. So here we go. Let's get started. This week, we're going back to, we don't have the harp anymore.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Give me a second.
We have feeding the ducks though. We're terrible at this.
Hold on. Hit it. Say it again.
This week we're going back to August 7th of the bicentennial 1976. And we're going to watch some old school WWF. And believe it or we've done old school a few times.
It was WWWF.
It's true.
Correct.
But the name of the show technically on the network is WWF Old School. Actually, I guess it'd be WWE Old School, wouldn't it? But we've watched some. I think we've watched a different one from 76. We watched one from 78. I think we watched one from 92. Watched a few of these. This was by far the best one we've seen.
I'm never watching another one of these. Anything else before 1989.
Oh, that we're not.
Why?
That's absolutely not
This was
true.
a good show.
This was a good show.
This couldn't end fast enough.
I love
Laying in
Dominic
bed watching
DeNucci.
this bull crud.
I love Dominic DeNucci.
Bullcrud.
Bull crud. I
Remember,
know.
I can't cuss today.
I know. But before we get to that show, let's run through some events. Filter free up first. Stories that missed the cut. August 1st, a flash flood at the Big Thompson Canyon in Colorado on Route 34 kills 139.
Shouldn't have been standing there.
Shouldn't have been kayaking there.
Damn you, Conrad. It was Big Thompson Canyon.
August 1st, Elizabeth Taylor divorces Richard Burton, her sixth divorce and the second between the two of them.
Sounds like my uncle.
Is
Your
uncle
uncle's
Richard
been
Burton?
married 6 times?
Well, he's dead now, but yes, he got married 6 times and twice to the same woman.
Is your uncle Elizabeth Taylor?
No.
August 1st, reigning F1 champion Niki Lauda suffers a near fatal crash at Nürburgring during the German Grand Prix.
Bless you. I don't even know what you just said.
Nürburgring.
Bless you.
Okay. August 1st, the Seattle Seahawks take the field for the first time at the Kingdome against the 49ers. We've covered the Kingdome in way back days of this show.
Yeah, it falls apart.
It sure does, a lot. August 3rd, future California Angels third baseman Troy Glaus is born in Tarzana, Los Angeles. Thank you. August 7th, scientists in Pasadena announced that the Viking 1 has discovered possible signs of life on Mars. Mind you, this is 1976.
Viking 1, is that like
It's Gary Anderson.
76? I don't even know who that could have been.
Gary
Jesus.
Anderson.
He probably was a kicker back then, too.
August 8th, the Chicago White Sox take the field in shorts, making this one of the ugliest uniforms in sports history.
I bet it felt amazing to slide feet first.
You know what's funny?
Oh,
is
my ass has road rash.
they didn't do a documentary on this because it would only be like 8 minutes long, but they did do a deep dive on this uniform because they wore a handful of games that year, and the players just said we just didn't do that.
So
If we had to slide into feet first, we were just getting tagged out.
That's terrible.
August 9th, Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher John Candelaria throws a no-hitter against the Dodgers as the Pirates win 2-0.
I think that might have been the last time the Pirates won.
A game?
Ever, yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. August 11th, Robert L. May, an advertising copywriter, and what everyone else knows him for, the creator of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, dies at age 71.
That's weird.
Yeah, that is odd. August 12th, former Boston Celtics and Miami Heat forward Antoine Walker is born. We will surely cover him one day as he has quite the story.
University of Kentucky legend Antoine Walker. Part of that
Yeah.
90. What? He was part of that 96 team that handed it over to Ashley Judd.
That was, wow, that's like episode 2 we ever did.
Nice.
August 17th.
Maybe not if you're the last guy in line.
Stop it. Like we have to censor that. August 17th.
That?
An earthquake and tsunami hit the Philippines at the same time, killing around 8,000 people.
Shouldn't have been living there. I don't know.
My friend Chris is actually my partner at work. His wife is Filipino.
Was she alive
Was she
in
there?
1976?
No, she was not alive in 76. No.
She died there.
Chris is a few months younger than me.
He likes the older ladies.
He does not. No. I mean, I think his wife might have a year on him.
He likes the mail order ladies.
No,
No.
they went to school together.
In the Philippines?
No, in the United States, dummy.
You said she was Filipino.
Yeah, her family emigrated here. You dope. That's allowed.
Indiana, I think they got lost.
I mean, they did. Yeah, for sure. In LaPorte, Indiana. How the hell?
They ended up. They got here and were like, "All right, let's go back. To hell with this."
What is the dollar store, and why are there 5 of them? August 19th, Gerald Ford wins the Republican presidential nomination at a convention in Kansas City.
That's a terrible place to have a convention.
Yeah, not the best one. Kansas City. Who wants to go to Kansas City? No one. August 21st, Larry Flint gets married for the 4th time, this time to Althea Leisure.
That's a great name.
It's
that is definitely a porn star's name.
I would say I'd like to take a guess at her profession.
I got to see what this chick looks like.
Please. We used to have a game for this, and then we had to get rid of it because my daughter screams upstairs. August 23rd, an earthquake hits China, killing over 1,000. Not a good month for weather.
I mean, that reduced their population by like 0.0000001%.
She died at the age of 33.
Wow. That's sad, actually.
She was killed by Larry Flint.
We did do a story about him hiring a hitman, but I didn't think it was her.
She drowned in a bathtub at the couple's Bel Air mansion. She passed out from a prescription drug overdose and drowned.
Oh, you know what? That was in the movie The People vs. Larry Flint. I remember that.
Her husband, however, states that at the time she was in the advanced stages of AIDS and would have died within that year regardless.
Yeah. That was in the movie The People vs. Larry Flint. I remember that scene. August 23rd, actor Scott Conn is born in Los Angeles.
Bangville.
She was Hustler's first life-size centerfold.
Bangville. Don't stand no chance.
Wait,
Want to see the new Tweeter end zone dance?
They made a magazine.
Just trample all over my bed. It's fine.
Well, everyone likes Varsity Blues, but wait, they made a centerfold that was life size. How big was that magazine?
Well, they
don't get a paper cut.
Shit!
They folded. It's not. That would be stupid if you made a life-size magazine.
No, we got a 6 foot wide magazine.
Well, she was fat.
You got to put it in the trunk of your car. And August 24th, not to be outdone by Elizabeth Taylor, Zsa Zsa Gabor divorces Jack Ryan after a year of marriage. Her 6th divorce.
Was this before he was in the Hunt for Red October?
Maybe.
Yes. Was that like Patriot Games?
So
that was Jack Ryan in the 80s, Hunt for Red October.
We had 3
so it was like
people.
Patriot Games then.
Yes. Sure. The Golden Child. We had 3 people.
It was like Vietnam Games.
Vietnam Games. We had 3 people get divorced in this month, and they combined had 16 divorces.
To be fair, I think a lot more people than that got divorced in this month.
Well, I'm just saying, between the 3 of them, they had 16.
We should go through all of them.
Maybe it's a bonus episode.
It'd be a hell of a show.
It'd be 9 hours. Stories in the Wheelhouse, August 11th. Rock and roll drumming legend Keith Moon from The Who collapses and is hospitalized in Miami, Florida.
The Who?
The Who. Very good. Unfortunately, this would be one of a few things that ended his life prematurely. So let's learn about the rock legend. Moon was born on August 23rd, 1946 in Wembley, London, England, the son of Alfred and Kathleen. He actually grew up playing the bugle in the Sea Cadet Corps at the age of 12, but found the instrument too difficult and learned the drums instead. Now, I will remind people, bugle is a trumpet with no valves, and I used to play trumpet, so it's really not that difficult.
Nerd.
Well, you had valves on yours.
Yeah.
Should learn to play it without valves.
It's much more.
Let me tell you about Valvoline. It's a commercial I saw.
Good. Keep going.
USWA 1993
for trumpet oil.
We're gonna see Jeff Jarrett for an hour and a half. He paid 10 shillings per lesson to Carlo Little. Oh, I skipped an entire part of that sentence. So he found the bugle.
No, you didn't. You said that.
Did I?
Yep.
Okay, we're still not good at this. He paid 10 shillings per lesson to Carlo Little, a drummer from the Screaming Lord Such band.
Lord Sucks band?
Such. With
Sucks.
a T.
I'm sure they sucked with an S too.
Stop it. Keith gained inspiration from jazz, rhythm and blues, and American surf music. His early favorites were Gene Krupa, DJ Fontana, who was the drummer for Elvis Presley, Tony Meechan from the Shadows, and Viv Prince from the Pretty Things. Moon also admired Motown as...
My
What?
device disconnected. Hold on.
From what?
Is that like he pulled out?
Be his unit disconnected. I'm gonna leave all this in just so everyone look at these three goofs. How long you guys been doing a show? 3 years.
3 minutes? We started 3 minutes ago.
See, let's see. We started in May, so May, June, July, August. It's 4 plus 20, 28 months we've been doing this. And he's gone.
Sweet. Keep going. To hell with him. He'll figure it out.
Moon also admired Motown, as Moon also sang, and the Beach Boys with Roger Daltrey saying that given the chance, even at the peak of the Who, Moon would have left the band to play for the Beach Boys. How weird would that have been? In 1964, at the age of 17, Moon auditioned for the Who was looking for a drummer after the departure of Doug Sandham. Moon would replace a session drummer mid-set at a concert and nearly demolished the drum set during the show, which would become his trademark. Moon recounts being a few cocktails in to build up his courage, and during the song Roadrunner, he broke the bass drum pedal and the skins on 2 different drums and figured he'd lost the job. I mean, usually if you audition for a new job and you break half the shit you come in contact with, yeah, you're probably not going to get the job.
Particularly mid-song. That seems like a bad idea.
Yes. After the show, Roger Daltrey joined Moon at the bar and told Keith to quit his job as a plaster salesman, and his first show was on Monday.
Moon was well known for his destructive lifestyle and exploding toilets.
What?
I'm known for that too at work, but it's probably means something different.
Different way.
Moon would flush powerful explosive down toilets, which became a pastime for him after purchasing 500 cherry bombs in 1965.
That's a lot of cherry bombs.
Is he
Townsend
7?
remembered walking into the bathroom of Moon's hotel room one time, noticing that the toilet had disappeared with only the S-bend remaining. The drummer explained that since a cherry bomb was about to explode, he had thrown it down the toilet.
1. And it blew the whole toilet off the wall.
Once, a hotel manager called Moon in his room and asked him to lower the volume of his cassette recorder because it made too much noise. In response, the drummer asked him up to his room. He excused himself to go to the bathroom, put a lit stick of dynamite in the toilet, and shut the bathroom door.
I'm sorry, did you say dynamite?
Dynamite.
Did he kill anyone?
Why is he carrying dynamite?
Upon returning, he asked the manager to stay for a moment as he wanted to explain something. After the explosion, Moon turned the recorder back on and said, "That, dear boy, was noise. This is ooh."
A goo.
Goo. What a weird dude already. And Timmy hasn't even gone yet, and he says the weird stuff.
At an early show at the Railway Tavern in Harrow, Townsend.
Townsend's his name.
Yeah, shit.
Pete Townsend.
At an early show at Railway Tavern in Harrow, Townsend smashed his guitar after accidentally breaking it, because apparently that's what you did if you were in the Who. When the audience demanded he do it again, Moon kicked over his drum kit because they just like breaking stuff.
It's actually a famous clip.
Subsequent live sets culminated in what the band later described as, quote, auto-destructive art, in which band members elaborately destroyed their equipment. Doesn't seem like a good way to make money.
I was going to say, the Who, by the way, never made a nickel.
In May 1966, Moon discovered that Beach Boys' Bruce Johnston was visiting London. After the pair socialized for a few days, Moon brought Johnston to the set of Ready, Steady, Go, which made them late for a show with The Who that evening.
What is that?
Ready, Steady, Go. It was a British television show.
Oh, look at you.
During the finale of My Generation, an alter... What? Spot of tea?
That's been a hot minute since we've done that.
Love it. During the finale of My Generation, an altercation broke out on stage between Moon and Townsend, which was reported on the front page of the New Musical Express the following week. On stage in the concert.
This
By the
band,
way, one of them's been throwing dynamite down the toilet,
And
and
the
they've
other one's
both
a
been breaking
pedophile.
everything.
this is the most dysfunctional, successful band in the history of music.
And by the way, this band also got like 14 people trampled in Cincinnati in 1978.
There you go.
In 1967, during their appearance on the easy for me to say, Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, he bribed a stagehand to load gunpowder into one of his bass drums. The stagehand used about 10 times the standard amount. During the finale of My Generation, he set off the charge. The intensity of the explosion singed Townsend's hair and embedded a piece of cymbal in Moon's arm. A clip of the incident became the opening scene for the film The Kids Were All Right. What is wrong with these people?
It should be the surprise of no one that this, if you remember, this story started because he collapsed in Miami, was hospitalized for like 2 weeks. And this is 1976. I believe he died in 78.
He died 2 years later. Yeah.
Yeah.
A piece of cymbal in his arm because he wanted gunpowder. This dude was like a pyromaniac, except with explosives.
And money, which is never a good thing. So he was like, hey, I'm going to play My Generation. And when I do, I want you to fire off this cannonball.
But it sits between my legs.
Yeah. But
Seems
I
like a
don't,
good idea.
again, this is the most dysfunctional, successful band ever. And the Who,
Who?
they had what, three albums, I believe?
I don't
Jim
know.
Neidhart.
And they didn't make it a decade. And thank you. I enjoyed that, but I'm still trying to make my point. But I mean, this is crazy. Like every other band, they were around for 25, 30. The Who was like less than a decade.
He should have blown up an anvil.
Wow.
He probably would have given the chance.
Yeah, he died 2 years later. I mean, who knows
I
what
want
else
you
he
to
had
put my
cooked up.
Peter on this anvil, and then we'll take a stick of dynamite and set it right next to it. And then I want you to set it off.
I want you to put this whistle stick in my pee hole, and then I'm going to play
My
Coming
Generation.
Next to You.
It always happened during My Generation. I don't know what's going on there.
Next story, August 16th. Let's move from the concert world to the gridiron as the St. Louis Cardinals, to tell you how long ago the show takes place, beat the San Diego Chargers in an exhibition game, which on the
You'd
face of
think
it,
the football team would win against the baseball team.
yeah, you would think so. Albert Pujols was playing those, so they didn't stand a chance. This doesn't sound like a big deal on paper, but the game was actually being held in Tokyo, Japan. We got the information for this story from Bob Underwood and the BigRedZone.com. The game was the first NFL game outside of North America ever. The Chargers were one of the teams from the AFL and had joined the NFL after the merger went official in 1970. The Cardinals joined the NFL as a charter franchise on September 17th, 1920, but was actually founded in Chicago in 1898 as the Morgan Athletic Club, making them the oldest continuous franchise of professional football in the U.S. How about that?
Also explains why they never won anything.
They still have not to this day. They've been to us.
Loser franchise.
Yes, the Cardinals. I mean, what would you say is worse, the Lions or the Cardinals?
Cardinals.
Yeah,
Bengals.
that's also a fair choice. The game was entitled the Mainichi Star Bowl and was sponsored by Mainichi Daily News, an English newspaper in Tokyo. The game was promoted by California lettuce farmer Frank Takahashi, who also fitted the bill for the game. Takahashi stated, "If we have a sellout, I'll break even."
Is that like the devil's lettuce or regular lettuce?
I think it's regular, like iceberg.
Oh.
Or
I
romaine.
think the game got 7 stars, though,
They did.
because
Yeah, 'cause
Takahashi was in it and it was in
In
Japan.
the Tokyo Dome, yeah. Spoiler alert, the game was not a sellout, and Takahashi lost tens of thousands of dollars. This sounds an awful lot like Inoki versus Ali in Japan, which happened just 2 months before this game.
No two NFL teams had ever traveled that far for a game. And this was even more ridiculous as it didn't mean anything since it was a preseason game.
Yep.
The game was pretty lackluster according to most, and no one really cares that St. Louis beat San Diego by a score of 20-10.
Pujols must have hit a lot of home runs.
He did. He was very busy.
The Cardinals did manage to go 10-4 during the 1976 season, but failed to make the playoffs because back then not everybody got in.
Correct.
The Chargers were dog ass like most seasons, losing 8 of their final 11 games to finish with a 6-8 record.
Future Hall of Fame coach and Cincinnati Bengals legend Bill Walsh spent
Wrong.
his season as the Chargers offensive coordinator before moving on to Stanford University at the end of the year because he realized, as Dave said, the Chargers were trash.
They are.
The Chargers began to pass more often, with quarterback Dan Fouts setting new career highs in every major passing category, including interceptions.
You know what's crazy, though, not to interrupt you, but we went from Bill Walsh, who was an offensive coordinator. I believe their head coach was like Dave Thomas from Wendy's. I don't remember his name.
I don't
But
think it was Dave Thomas.
It was Dave Thomas. He served the team Baconators. That's why they were so lethargic all the time. But he was replaced by Don Coryell, and Eric Coryell started in 1978. So
Don Corleone.
Uncultured sports swine, you.
Enough about those scrubs, though. Korakuen Stadium, completed in 1937. It was originally used for baseball. It was home to the Yomiuri Giants for nearly 50 years.
I got you a player from the Giants.
Yes, Mr.
Mitchell.
Baseball.
Not those Giants. That's Major League, actually, I'm quoting.
Oh, my bad.
Tanaka. That was the
he went
introduction
to
to
the- yeah.
Tanaka.
For various periods of time, it was also the home stadium of 6 other professional Japanese baseball teams, including the Minichi Orions, the
Kokutetsu.
yeah, that's what he said. Swallows, and the Nippon Ham Fighters.
Nippon
which
Ham Fighters.
I really want to see someone fight a ham.
ham
the
flour.
Koketsu Swallows and the Nipple Ham Fighters.
It should be the Nippon Ham Flowers, is what it should be.
It originally hosted the Japanese Baseball Hall of Fame, now located at Korakuen's successor venue, the Tokyo Dome.
7 stars.
7 stars there. In the 1970s and 80s, Korakuen was also a concert venue for superstar performers. The ballpark had a capacity of 50,000 people. The Tokyo Dome is like 75. And you get 7 stars every time.
And now we get 1980 or 76 NFL box score trivia. This ought to be good.
I would say I'm already embarrassed, but we're gonna do it anyway. It's time for box score.
But today, I'm the greatest of all time.
Vernon and Waugh. Mike Vernon with a great left.
Here it is. H. Pressure with 3. Winston's going to run the ball. Makes a guy miss. Come down to hit. Over the second rafter. Off the floor. Nothing but net. Through the window. Off the wall. Nothing but net. You like that? You like that? I like that.
You gotta like that, right?
So I have a question about that clip.
Yeah.
Do you think, knowing all we know about Cosby now, that Jordan probably would have went for a different sweater?
You know what's fun is we watched that. I didn't even notice the sweater. But before we get started with this, I would
That
like
sweater
to
was
thank
pimp. I have 2 of them.
Pimp. Do you?
Gonna wear one
You're
tomorrow
a Cosby sweater guy?
I don't know why. I don't know why I would be surprised by that, but
in the summer.
that's gross.
I keep roofies in them.
Before we
pops.
gross.
Roofies
boy.
and pudding pops. There's a t-shirt.
I was gonna never mind. So before we get started, I would like to thank James Quello for making all these video clips for us. He did a great job on the clips. And here we go. Box score trivia 1976 NFL. We're gonna start this with passing yards.
Terry Bradshaw.
Let's
Dan
see.
Fouts.
If you can give me 3.
Dan Fouts.
I'll buy one of you lunch. Dan Fouts, number 8, 2,530.
Terry Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw. No.
Fran Tarkenton.
Fran Tarkenton, number 2, 2,961 of the Minnesota Vikings. One more.
Johnny Unitas.
Johnny U. No. I believe 76 was Unitas' last season.
Yeah,
Might have been
but
74.
he wasn't with the Colts anymore. He was
No, he was at the
We get.
Chargers. Huh?
I lost sound. Who did we get?
Fran
You've-
Tarkenton
And Fouts.
and Fouts. Montana wasn't there yet, so it wouldn't have been him.
Dave quit.
Warren Moon.
Warren Moon. No.
I
Who
can't
named
believe
Joe
Bradshaw wasn't there.
Namath.
Oh, it's a
No.
good one. No, he
No.
was terrible though. He was only good that one season.
He might have been with the Rams here in 76.
God. Who was the Dolphins quarterback back then?
I don't know, but he's not on this list.
Give us some teams.
Detroit, Seattle,
Dave Craig.
no. Kansas City, Dallas,
Oh, White.
Oakland,
Danny White.
no. Oakland,
Who was before him?
St. Louis.
Staubach.
Roger Staubach, number 5, 2,715.
Woo, we got three.
Dave,
we
you're
can't
muted.
hear you.
So you might have said it, but you're muted. Check your mic.
Or just keep speaking
No,
silently.
see if your mic is muted, dum dum. Check the red button.
On the mic.
He froze.
Now his internet's froze. We are professionals.
I am going to be busy with this one.
So am I.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Yes.
Here is your top 10. Now, there was a number 9 I skipped.
I said Staubach when I was muted.
You did. Number
Liar.
9 I skipped, and when I list them off, you'll know why. Number 10 of the Detroit Lions, Greg Landry, 2,191 yards. Number 9 of your Cincinnati Bengals, Ken Anderson.
Kenny.
Dave quit again, 2,367. Number 7, Jim Zorn of the Seattle Seahawks. Number 6, Mike Livingston of the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 4, the Snake, Ken Stabler,
That would've been a-
2,737.
The
Number
Raiders.
three.
That was your Raiders there.
Number 3, number 15 in your programs, number 1 in your heart of the St. Louis Cardinals, Jim Hart, 2,946.
Brett's big brother.
Yep, it's even spelled right. And number 1 of the Baltimore Colts, Burt Jones, 3,104.
No idea who he is.
Let's see if you can do passing touchdowns much better. Here we go. We're going to go with 4. You did so well the first time. We'll do 5.
Dan
Staubach.
Fouts.
Dan Fouts tied for, by the way, Dan Fouts tied for 9th with 14.
Jeez.
Staubach.
Staubach tied for 9th with 14.
Jake the Snake. Or whatever his name was.
Roberts?
Jake, this is
Plumber?
I know who you're talking about, but I need his name.
From
I'm not gonna give it
Oakland.
to you. Oakland, yes.
Him.
He was usually drunker than a skunk every game the Raiders played.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
It's the Snake, Ken Stabler of
Oh,
the
yeah.
Oakland Raiders. 27 touchdowns led the
Jake
league.
Ken the Snake Stabler.
He led the league with 27.
Terry
There's 3.
Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw, no.
Ken Anderson.
Bill Robertson.
Bill Robertson from Duck
No,
Dynasty. Ken
Phil.
Anderson, 3rd with 19.
Woo!
Joe Namath.
No, but Joe Namath is in the top 10 for interceptions in
Well,
1970.
we knew that. He threw more
For his
interceptions than
career,
touchdowns.
he threw more of those than touchdowns.
I think 1976 might have been the year Staubach was benched for Joe Gillum.
Fran Tarkenton.
Fran Tarkenton tied for 6th with 17. Here's the
Elvis
rest.
Gerback.
Elvis Gerback, the Chiefs or the 49ers.
I
Which
think
one?
this was Warren Moon's rookie year.
The Bengals.
The Bengals. I don't think he played for the Bengals. but
Gerbach didn't play for us.
here's the
He
rest
did,
of your
he did
top
in
10.
76.
It's a lot of repeats. We got Roger Staubach, Dan Fouts, Fran Tarkenton, Cleveland Browns legend Brian Sipe, coming in tied for 6. Greg Landry, Jim Hart, New England Patriots quarterback Steve Grogan had 18, and Burt Jones. You guys
I love
have
his podcast,
You guys have no
the Steve Grogan.
Steve Grogan experience. You guys have no Burt Jones love. He comes in second again with 24.
I have not heard of him.
He was the guy that was originally drafted to replace Staubach, and they traded him to. No, that was Craig Morton. Isn't that what I said? No, Burton Jones. I don't
It
know.
was Morton's Steakhouse.
Charlie Morton.
Sure. So we're gonna go. What was the next one I had picked? It was a rushing category. Here we go. Rushing touchdowns. Leaders.
Franco Harris.
Let's see. Wow, there's some surprising.
Larry Zonka.
We're gonna do 4 here. Franco Harris of your Pittsburgh Steelers led the league 14. And you said Larry Zonka. No.
Gail Sayers.
Gale retired in 1966.
Jim Brown.
Actually, no, retired in 1970. Excuse me. Jim Brown also retired by 1976.
O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson tied for 7th with 8. There's
Killing
2.
it.
Definitely, allegedly. There is a Cincinnati Bengals on this.
I have no idea who that could be.
I cannot wait to say his name. That's all
Barry
I can say.
Larkin.
Barry Larkin. So we got 2. We need 2 more.
Let's see. Who was
Corey Dillon.
No.
who was the guy from the Cowboys back then?
In 76?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Billy White Shoes Johnson. He
Was a
an
wide
Oiler.
receiver.
Oh, he was an Oiler. I thought
And
they
he
ran a
was
lot
an
of
Oiler.
reverses.
Good job. He was an Oiler and a Falcon.
Lorenzo Neal. Lorenzo White. Lorenzo's Oil.
There's no Lorenzo on this list, not one.
Vincenzo Neal.
Herschel Walker.
Herschel Walker, no chance. I'm not even sure if he was at Georgia yet.
He was in middle school.
One more guess each, because y'all ain't gonna get it.
Give us some teams.
San Francisco.
Roger Craig.
Nope. Whatever you're gonna say, no. Baltimore, New Orleans, Cincinnati.
Alvin Kamara.
No. St. Louis.
Icky
Lamar
Woods.
Jackson.
This one's
Iggy
abbreviation.
Carlton Fisk.
This one's abbreviation is RAM, so I'm pretty sure it's the Rams. Baltimore Colts, the
Steven
Patriots,
Jackson.
the Bears, and the Vikings.
Gail Sayers again.
No, still not Gale Sayers.
Walter Payton.
Walter Payton tied for second with 13.
Really? I didn't think he was around then.
I believe
Walter
76
Matthau.
was his. I think 76 was his rookie
Jack
year. Walter
Lemon.
Matthau tied for 7th with O.J. Simpson. Weirdly enough, here's the rest of your top 10. I'm stopping this now because this is just embarrassing. All tied for 9th of San Francisco, Devin Williams, Baltimore, Roosevelt Leaks, New Orleans, Tony Galbraith, and number 9 of your Cincinnati Bengals, Booby Clark.
I love
Booby
it.
Clark. That's my favorite football player's name.
That's
ever
my
now.
running back right there, Booby Clark.
Tied
I'm
for
drafting
7th
him
with
in
OJ
fantasy. Booby
of
Clark.
the
I
St.
have
Louis
fantasy
Cardinals.
boobies.
That's really weird. That should actually my team name. This is gonna be Fantasy Boobies. Tied for 7th of the St. Louis Cardinals, Steve Jones. Tied
Booby
for
Clark of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep, that's my whole team name. There he is. That's Icky Woods.
That's Charles Lee Booby Clark.
That looks like Icky Woods.
They all look the same with helmets on.
That's fair.
They're all Cincinnati.
Well, see
had
that
a-
one. See that one. The
Cincinnati
helmet.
had a lot of fat running backs back in the day.
Well, no, the one he just showed us had the Bengals written on the helmet with no
Yeah.
stripes.
Old school.
He died in 1988 at the age of 39.
Well,
38.
Wow.
Didn't
That's
even
sad.
reach 39.
That's sad.
I'm so sorry.
Now
Back
I
to
got to
this-
know how he died.
Back to this list. Tied for.
Blood clot in his lung at the age of 38.
That's
It would have
terrible.
been. It would have been better if it were. Brady.
I think I have to cut that.
No, you don't. That's a great joke.
But it is for us. I'm not sure it is for anyone else. Tied for 5th, Don McCauley and Lawrence McCutcheon. 4th, New England Patriots quarterback Steve Grogan with 12. Tied with Walter Payton for 2nd is Chuck Foreman of the Minnesota Vikings. And that was box score trivia. Not as bad as I expected for 1976.
How did a quarterback get on that list? That's weird.
Steve Grogan. How did Steve Grogan get on that list?
Because he has a great podcast.
Doesn't he sing for like Stone Temple Pilots or something?
I don't think so.
That guy's
Oh.
dead.
Well, that's
Yep.
sad.
We have a lot, and you know what's sad? Also,
Oh, that's
sad
Dave
is
Grohl. Never
it-
mind.
Dave Grohl's
Yeah,
not
that's
dead,
that's not Stone Temple
and
Pilots.
he is the
either.
drummer and singer of the Foo Fighters,
Same
Well, he
thing.
was also the drummer of Nirvana.
the
and the
same
drummer of-
thing.
and the drummer of Tenacious D and
And
KG
he threw a
Elephant.
guitar in the air and ate it with his mouth.
Nope, that was a different guy. That was the bass player for Nirvana.
Oh.
The drummer generally won't throw a guitar in the air and eat it with his mouth.
That would just be odd. Like, why does he even have that instrument on stage if not just to do that?
Dave's music knowledge is unsurpassed.
I believe this drummer is a gimmick. August 18th, in one of the most bizarre incidents in U.S. military history that doesn't get talked about nearly enough, 2 soldiers are killed while cutting down a poplar tree that was blocking the view of UN observers. I know that sentence does not make sense, but it will as we give you context. The relationship between North and South Korea hasn't been stellar for what seems like eons now, and this incident surely did not help. There's a bridge connecting the two countries known as the Bridge of No Return. This bridge represents the military demarcation line. Along this bridge was a 98-foot poplar tree that blocked the line of sight between a United Nations command checkpoint and an observation tower. This tree had already sparked a previous incident as a group of U.S. soldiers were held at gunpoint, which led to Joint Security Force Commander Captain Arthur Boniface to go and secure the troops with no incident. He succeeded. However, on August 18th, 5 Korean Service Corps members, including Boniface, went down to prune the tree. Then 15 North Korean soldiers appeared, who were commanded by Senior Lieutenant Paul Chul, who had the nickname of Lieutenant Bulldog because of his history of causing confrontations.
Lieutenant Bulldog.
Do they have bulldogs in Korea? That
Should
would
be Lieutenant
odd.
Bullshit, is what it should be.
We'll get
For-
to that in a second.
Yeah, yes, we will. For 15 minutes, the North Korean troops merely watched as the tree was pruned before approaching the KSC and telling them the tree was planted by the North Korean leader Kim Il-sung and could not be trimmed. Boniface commanded the troops to continue and turned his back on the North Koreans. Don't ever do that. Not just the North Koreans, ever. Shortly after this, a truck carrying 20 more soldiers from North Korea arrived carrying crowbars and clubs. Pak Chul again demanded they stop pruning. Boniface again turned his back on him. I will say this man's got balls. Pak then removed his watch, put it in his pocket, and shouted, "Kill the bastards." Using axes dropped by the people trimming the tree, Boniface was bludgeoned to death by 5 North Korean soldiers, and Lieutenant Mark Bennett disappeared over a wall.
Shortly after the murder of Boniface, the North Korean media began airing reports of the fight. The North Korean version stated, around 10:45 a.m. today, the American imperialist aggressors sent in 14 hoodlums with axes into the joint security area to cut down the trees on their own accord, although such a work should be mutually consented beforehand. 4 persons from our side went to the spot to warn them not to continue the work without our consent. Against our persuasion, they attacked our guards en masse and committed a serious, provocative act of beating our men, wielding murderous weapons and depending on the fact that they outnumbered us.
We didn't.
Our guards could not but resort to self-defense under the circumstances of this reckless provocation.
Good job, you. 3 days later, American and South Korean forces launched Operation Paul Bunyan, which is the worst named thing in history.
Also blatantly obvious what you're getting ready to do.
An operation that cut down the tree with a show of force to intimidate North Korea into backing down, which occurred. They cut a tree down to stop whatever.
They should have lit it on fire.
That'll show you we're going to cut this poplar to the ground.
North Korea then accepted responsibility for the earlier killings. Damn right, we'll cut your trees down if you don't. Within 4 hours of the attack, you thought the press was bad. Kim Jong-il, the son of North Korean leader Kim Il-sung, which why are they all Kims and Sungs and Jongs and Ils and whatever? I don't like North Korea. addressed the
Not
conference
many
of
people do.
non-aligned
Oh,
nations
you busting my balls, Hans Bricks. You busting my balls.
in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and presented a prepared document describing the incident as an unprovoked attack on North Korean guards that had been led by American officers. He then introduced a resolution asking the conference to condemn that day's grave U.S. provocation.
Grave.
And then he called on participants to endorse both withdrawal of U.S. forces from Korea and dissolution of the UNC, which was seconded by Cuba. The members of the conference passed the resolution. I don't know who else was there. It probably looked like the villain's room in Batman.
It was North Korea and Cuba.
Screw you, North Korea, and you too, Cuba.
You're busting my balls, Hans Bricks.
They had this conference at a Chili's.
In Sri Lanka.
It was a table for two. Cuba
And they said, hey, they're bullying us. We beat them to death with crowbars. They're bullying us.
They put a prison on our island. We're mad at them. Well, you know who probably would have reported on this at the time? August 30th, the story, and a man so great it left Dave speechless. One of the more respected newsmen of his time, Tom Brokaw, gets his start as the news anchor for NBC's The Today Show. Tom Brokaw has done it all in the course of his illustrious career behind the desk, giving the nation the news on NBC. And unfortunately for Timmy, he seems to be controversy-free. However, Timmy proved me wrong on that one. More on that later. Brokaw has spent his literal entire adult life behind the anchor desk, graduating from the University of South Dakota, which I did not know was a thing. Isn't that the South Dakota Jackrabbits, like the Division IIA team that wins the football title every year?
Well, it's the North Dakota Bison win it all. But the South Dakota Jackrabbits are pretty good too.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And at the age of 20 years old, he got his start in 1960 as the newscaster and weatherman for KTIV TV out of Sioux City, Iowa. He would spend 2 years with them before moving to KMTV TV as reporter out of Omaha, Nebraska. Then 1 year out of WSB TV doing the nightly news in Atlanta. Then in 1966, he became the NBC News West Coast correspondent, and he would spend the next 45 years with NBC News. He quickly garnered a reputation due to his straight-laced reporting style, and in 1973, Brokaw became the White House correspondent covering the Watergate scandal and the anchor of the nightly news. Brokaw actually would later reveal in 2017 that he actually was offered the position as the press secretary for then President Richard Nixon in 1969, but turned it down.
Yep. No controversy from Tom Brokaw. Fine, upstanding citizen, TJ. Wait, what? Tom Brokaw has been accused of making inappropriate advances towards two women. What? TJ.
I didn't know that.
What? Well, let's see. Let's look into this.
Hold on, before you do.
Former NBC. There you
Okay,
go.
now I'm ready.
Former NBC correspondent Linda Vester claimed Brokaw made an unwanted advance, including a forcible attempt to kiss her on 2 occasions in the 90s. At the time, Vester was in her 20s and did not want to file a complaint because why would you try to kiss him? Never mind.
Could you imagine Tom Brokaw?
I'm going to kiss you now.
He look, yeah. I'm going to kiss you now. He looks like a young Herman Munster.
This one sounds more like something he'd do.
It's like
though.
drunk Joe Namath. I kiss you.
I could kiss you right now.
I kiss you.
Lisa Salters, come here.
The
Linda
second-
Vester, you're the breaster. I kiss you.
The second woman who worked as a production assistant anonymously told that Brokaw acted the post that Brokaw.
No, he told the Post.
Told the Post. Gotcha.
Dickie Post. Moron.
The second woman who was a production assistant
dug a
anonymously
post.
told the New York Post that Brokaw acted inappropriately towards her in the 90s because that was his decade of decadence.
She was outside yelling at a telephone pole that was called the Post.
Brokaw also denied the second accusation because why wouldn't you? Variety published an interview with Vester, the first lady, which claimed that Brokaw groped her in an NBC News conference room and showed up at her hotel room uninvited.
Again, there's a few things I can think of that are more horrifying than getting a knock on the hotel door at 2:00 in the morning, and I open the door and there's a drunk Tom Brokaw.
What are you here to report on, sir?
Rock hard. I've got news for you.
It's
got-
a helicopter.
I got more than news for you, ma'am.
Underneath this trench coat,
Straight jacket.
I'm saying straight jacket. Underneath
Jacket's
this
what he
trench
should have
coat,
been in.
I'm
I've got
hugging myself.
I've got a real knee slapper.
But apparently that wasn't all that Tom didn't think highly of. He also didn't think Latinos were working hard enough in 2019.
Oh boy.
During a panel discussion on Meet the Press, Brokaw commented that, quote, Hispanics should be working harder at assimilation. You know, they ought not just be codified in their communities, but should make sure all their kids are learning to speak English and that they feel comfortable in the communities. He said and added that that's a view he's been sharing, quote, for a long time. Yep, TJ, squeaky clean Tom Brokaw with his dick hanging out for ladies and hating on the Hispanics.
I will say Linda Vester was hot. I looked her up.
I gotta give it to Tom Brokaw. He's like, I've got a sparkling reputation. I've been
Just don't use Google.
One of the one of the nation's 3 top news anchors. On my way out the door, let me pull my dick out and say some racist shit.
Dan Rather wouldn't try that shit.
Hell no. Dan Rather's got way more sense than that. The worst thing Dan Rather did is he got always wear suspenders. That's the worst thing he did.
Love it.
That's the worst thing Dan Rather did?
Yeah, wear suspenders.
So Dave, how are
That
movies
didn't
this
lie.
week?
Movies are great this week.
Are you thinking of Dan Rather or Brian Williams?
Dan Rather also was a liar. I didn't watch any movies from 1976 because I don't like shit in black and white.
I don't think that's how that worked. So
I
does
looked
that
up
mean-
movies in 1976 and I didn't recognize not a one.
Does that mean
Haven't
it's my
seen
turn?
it. It's your turn.
That means it's my turn. Let's go to Timmy's Trivioki.
Figaro. Figaro, 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 Figaro.
That's not Tosca.
Ugh, my ears. My neck. My back.
Yep. I remember. Everyone remembers when Elvis performed that.
Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take you to Bermuda. Bahama. Come on, pretty mama. Key Largo, Montego Bay. All right. Once again,
Saturday Night Fever.
we gotta cut that shit.
That
All right.
cut what shit?
Me fat in that singing Whitney.
No, it's a
Houston.
good before and after.
Dude, it was literally like a month ago.
No, that was me singing Jet, not
you
not
know, also
Whitney
like,
Houston.
you know what
Both
I
of those were like a
appreciate,
month
though?
ago.
You know what I appreciate about you, Timmy? Though you lost 50 pounds and lost a goatee. That's
And
incredible.
that stupid goatee. Good job.
It's okay.
incredible.
The top knot's coming back.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Song
I've
number one.
got a full blown mullet, and I'm going ugh.
Yeah. Clue number one. This is a song recorded in 1976 by the Steve Miller Band. A song about 2 young, possibly teenage bandits and the detective pursuing them.
Oh,
Benny and the Jets.
Life in the Fast Lane.
That was the Eagles. Clue number
Was it?
2. It was the first single featured on the 1976 album Fly Like an Eagle.
Fly like an eagle.
It's not Fly Like an Eagle.
It's not Fly like an eagle.
It's not Fly Like an Eagle.
Clue number 3.
And
Run
it's not the
DMC
Eagles.
used it in 2001
It's
with
tricky.
Everlast on the vocals.
It's tricky.
So
Take the money and run. Damn it. I was close.
I've never heard this song.
Come on, take the money and run.
Woo, yeah.
Who
Go
sings this
on,
song?
Take the money and run.
He said who sang it.
I already forgot.
It's Steve Miller Band.
This is stupid.
Jet
Never heard
Liner is much better than this song, but
It is, but it was not released in 1976.
that's
It's
fine.
Tricky is way better than this. It's tricky, rock, you rock, it's tricky.
Song number 2, clue number 1. This is a song by the Irish hard rock band Thin Lizzy. The song was originally released in 1976 as the first single from their album Jailbreak.
Amy Winehouse.
What?
Boys are back in town.
Try to go to rehab, but I said no.
Nice.
No.
They had 2 hits, so it really narrowed down the choices.
I need some better kind of music. I don't know any of this shit.
Boys are back in town.
I said the boys are back in town. Boys are back in town. Clue number 2, the song was used on various trailers for Disney Pixar films Toy Story and Toy Story 2 and Rick and Morty's 4th season, and is also heard in the 1990 action film Navy SEALs, in the 1999 comedy film Detroit Rock City, in the video game Saints Row 4, and MLB The Show 23, and it was also covered by the band Everclear.
Literally everything you just said I like.
Song number 3, clue number 1. This is a song written by Rob Parisi and recorded by the band Wild Cherry.
Whoa. Humble Pie.
Crazy
song-
bitch.
The song was
It's Buck
listed
Cherry.
at number 93 on Billboard Magazine's all-time top 100 songs in 2018. It was also the group's only U.S. top 40 song.
30 Days in the
Uh,
Hole.
Wild Cherry was the toilet with the guy from The Who.
It's correct. That is correct.
No, I think that was Cherry Bomb.
Oh, shit.
I just listened to 2 Humble Pie songs. That's irritating me. Neither one of them are right.
All right, Dave, this should give it to you. American rapper Vanilla Ice later released the song featuring an interpretation of this.
Ice Ice Baby.
Under Pressure.
It was the B-side of Ice Ice Baby.
Oh, play that funky music, white boy.
Singing and moving to the
Humble
groove,
Pie sang
and
this?
just when it hit me, somebody turned around and shouted, "Play that funky music, white boy! Lay that funky music right!"
Say, go vanilla, go vanilla.
Lay down and boogie and play that funky music till you die.
They changed sound entirely because 30 Days in the Hole sounds nothing like that.
It was by Wild Cherry, dumbass.
Buck Cherry.
Wild
Oh,
Cherry.
yeah. I was thinking of Humble Pie.
You should eat a little bit of that.
Timmy, I've literally never won your game.
I know.
Ever.
Terrible at music.
But I win Have You Seen It every week because I get 19 points on one movie.
I was gonna say it's because the points all change and the answers don't matter.
And you scored in fractions is the word I wanted. You know what else was fractions? This show, WWWF Old School House Show from August 7th, 1976. Your announcer, singular, Vince McMahon. We're at Madison Square Garden. Timmy, how'd you feel Madison Square Garden looked here?
Looked weird. Instead of having the open thing, it was like narrow walkways.
I didn't care for it either.
And then great. 8 matches in 76. I was not excited at the beginning.
It's actually
They said 9 matches, but
They
there were
did.
only 8.
so literally my first note is match 1, Jose Cadiz against Johnny Rivera.
Cadiz.
And my first note is the ring announcer there was going to be 9 matches. Holy shit. That's my first note. But there was 8, which is even more awkward. But one of them 2 out of 3 falls. So technically there could have been 10. The Cadiz starts out on
So
top.
he gave away the ending of the 2 out of 3 falls match.
It's true. Cadiz, old Jose there, starts out on top as the heel, and there's the illustrious Mrs. Krieger, as Mr. Man said. They keep saying how popular Rivera is, but I actually like Cadiz more. He's not a bad heel. I actually like watching him. This match is definitely a lot of high flying for 1976. Somehow Rivera got out of a full Nelson by stopping on the mat. I still have not figured that one out. Rivera does a nice.
Jiggly.
Who's Jiggly?
The mat and him.
Okay. Rivera does a nice flying head scissors out of the corner that shockingly was not the finish. Rivera hits a very stiff diving cross body for the win. If this match would have ended 3 minutes earlier, it would have been very good.
I like how we're 4 minutes into the match and Vince says, both fellas not in the super heavyweight category. He even hated the small guys in the 70s.
Also enjoyed in the 70s, super heavyweight was not a thing yet.
I thought Cadiz looked like a huge dork out there. His whole shtick was stupid and he looked weird.
Tell us how you really feel about it.
Yeah.
Always with the positive spin with Dave.
Cadiz more like Kashits.
Kashits.
Could you imagine some of the guys today trying to do some of their aerial moves off the ropes as loose as these were? They were just bouncing.
Well, also the guys from today couldn't get this kind of crowd heat not doing that.
Correct.
These guys did nothing. It's in the matches later on. They did nothing. And the
This
crowd
match
was ready to burn the building down.
This match was 10 minutes, 41 seconds.
Yes, it was.
This 2-camera setup here at the Garden is the height of technology in 1976.
Oh, you wait till Ivan Putty comes out later.
You get hard cam and high hard cam.
Hard cam and hard cam 2.
How the hell does Vince know the name of that old lady, Mrs. Krieger, though?
She
That's
is the
weird.
She is the OG super fan.
And I'm gonna guess that Frank.
Who's Frank Pantson girlies? Who's that?
That's not what I put. It was lost in translations.
Sure. Love Tom Hanks.
The guy from The Godfather. That's what the referee looked like.
Frank Pastrami.
Never mind.
This is great. I love this.
Move on.
This is wonderful.
Go.
Who are you calling Fat Freddie Mercury? I need to know
It's Frank Pantangeli, damn it.
that. Okay,
what
who
I
are you
said,
calling Fat Freddie
Pastrami.
Mercury?
The one that was in the rest hold. I think it was the heel. I don't know.
Cadiz or Anthony
Yeah.
Rivera?
This has been 7 days ago now. Cadiz. Cadiz looks like Fat Freddie Mercury.
I love everything about this. Match 2, Johnny Rods versus SD Jones. Look, we have 2 Hall of Famers in this ring. No matter if people think they should be or not, they are, and they deserve to be. This was a good, hard-hitting slugfest, especially for 76. Johnny Rods has Jones in the corner around the waist when Jones kicks off. Gets suplexed, but keeps his shoulders up. Rods gets countered out. Imagine Hart versus Piper at WrestleMania. I like this match. This was a good match.
You totally stole my line there, you dick face.
Oh, sorry. My bad. But you could say Austin and Hart. I didn't say that one.
Rods was mainly used as enhancement talent in the WWWF, yet is now in the Hall of Fame.
Because what he did
He
as
was a trainer.
I think it's time we start a petition to get the Cooker, Bob Cook, in the WWE Hall of Fame.
What is
Wow,
with all?
you're going way back.
What is with all these throwbacks to like the first 8 episodes we did?
Power of the Punch.
Power of the Punch. I still have that shirt. I still wear it on occasion.
SD.
You know who wouldn't have gotten beat by SD Jones? Former WCW World Heavyweight Champion and Florida State Seminole legend Ron Simmons.
I need
I
to
bet
put
he.
it.
I bet he would have because he was like 14 here.
In case y'all were wondering, 30 years ago today, he beat Vader to become the first African American. Oh, wait, that's 31 years ago. Never mind. 31 years ago today, he beat Vader to become the first African American heavyweight champion of the world.
Today's we're recording, or today's just drops.
Today, as we're recording,
August 2nd. Okay.
1992.
I need to put applause sound effect because I actually appreciated that. The Ron Simmons. Again, the people who just started listening to the show on the network are like, why did he bring up Ron Simmons? You'll learn over time. Just hang in there.
SD Jones was a spry 31 here. That's young for SD Jones because I remember SD Jones when he was old.
I watched Starrcade 83 the other day because I hate myself, and he was on that card. And he did not look as nearly as good here. Or
Does
there
he have a
because
brother named VD?
VD Jones?
I think I met her one time in Indiana.
That's where you lost your goatee.
And 40 pounds.
Did you date the Toxic Avenger? What happened?
Did Vince just say SD was a colorful wrestler?
He did.
What? Ooh, that didn't. Okay. This is not the chubby older SD Jones I grew up with. This dude was in great shape. And speaking of great shape, Johnny's pants are not in great shape. They're about ready to
No.
fall off of him.
Both of those things are true.
They look like green Christmas stripes on the trunks or on the legs and red checkerboards on the trunks.
It looked like
Terrible.
he forgot his stuff and borrowed stuff from two other wrestlers in the back. 2 lines in a row from this match. The first one, SD is trying to use the back door here. The very next line, Johnny shows his back to SD.
These old school shows and the company we're going to cover next week are prime examples why we should never go back to one-man announce booths ever again. Match 3, Jose Gonzalez and Dominic DeNucci take on the WWWF Tag Team Champions, the Executioners, in a 2 out of 3 falls match. It's kind of crazy that in the last 2 matches, we've had 3 of the most prominent trainers ever. Johnny Rods, Dominic DeNucci, and even with a hood on, I can tell that one of the Executioners is Killer Kowalski. So these 3 guys, are responsible for the Dudley Boys, Mick Foley, and Triple H.
Mick
Not bad.
Foley. Meh.
What? Bitch? How
He's
dare
no
you?
Ron Simmons.
Didn't Rods also train Hulk Hogan? I felt like he was part of Hulk Hogan.
That was Hiro Matsuda, I thought.
Well, I think they both did.
You could be right. I don't know.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
This is a good heat-getting match out of the gate, and I'm pretty sure Kowalski punched Mrs. Krieger in the face at one point.
She
during
earned
this
that.
match. She shouldn't have been standing there. The ref
Old
starts
hag.
to lose. The ref starts to lose some control, and as he is talking to Gonzalez, the Executioners get a double backbreaker on DeNucci and the win and the first fall.
Wrestling is terrible without colorful entrances and entrance music. And teeny title belts look stupid.
I don't
Teeny.
hate it. I don't hate it.
DeNucci had been wrestling for 18 years at this point. Good Lord.
We probably started when he was 13 because it was,
I was going to say,
50s.
he was only 24.
Remember when WWF tag titles actually meant something? Good times.
Like 1991, probably the last time.
And I'm pretty sure the Executioners were doing some belly button tickling on DeNucci there towards the end of the first fall. That was very
Belly
weird.
button. No, how did say it exactly how you wrote it in the notes?
Belly button play.
Thank you. That's
it was
what you should
tickling.
have said. You said belly button. It's belly button play for sure.
They literally were sticking their fingers in his belly button.
They were knuckle deep in that belly button.
Gucci, Gucci,
Well-
goo.
And Killer Kowalski's got huge hands.
Well, TJ, you're correct. That Killer Kowalski was one of them. The other one is a young Big John Stud here.
I was surprised to see that.
So Gonzalez and DeNucci are teaming up for the first time, and they get a championship match. That's good booking there.
Here's my guess. It's because of how over DeNucci was.
Correct.
Put him with
Well-
anyone.
But wait a minute. This is 2 out of 3 falls. They didn't say that at the beginning.
They did.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
I didn't hear it.
It's literally the first sentence of my notes.
6 out
And
of
after
9
the-
falls.
After the first fall, I'm going to bet $10 million that DeNucci and Gonzalez win fall number 2. And then the Executioners win. Shit. I just lost 10 million fake dollars.
Here's the tale of the second fall. The Executioners continue to work the lower back of DeNucci. And here's the one thing. You can say everything you want about how the wrestlers look and their athleticism, whatever. The psychology is next level in these matches from the 70s. In a weird moment, DeNucci makes the tag, but the ref doesn't see it, but allows it anyway. DeNucci gets an airplane spin and gets the pin for fall 2, and the crowd goes absolutely nuts for
Haha,
Dimitri.
see what 7 days does for me? I forgot. I do win $10 million from each of you.
I didn't agree to your bet.
Send me
And
a check.
also, why do you have to get $10 million from us?
And Dave, fix the tracking on this video.
Do you take big cardboard checks?
Yes,
Okay.
to the bank.
Like Happy Gilmore.
Give me one of those.
Excuse all the noise. My wife is cleaning the kitchen right next to me.
With what, a Swiffer?
I think she's cleaning it with a
With
baseball
a leaf,
bat.
leaf
A
blower.
baseball bat.
It's a leaf blower.
That sounds like a threat more than cleaning.
She's probably gonna kill me.
I can't wait.
I-
And of course, the faces get the second fall. We got to drag this shit out all night.
Well,
Oh, I hate 2 out of 3 fall matches.
here we go. I was really hoping for the curfew, the Son of Sam curfew at the end of this, but
No,
we didn't get
he
it.
wasn't killing yet.
No, he was.
Oh.
They just didn't do the curfew yet. Danucci and Gonzalez are on top for most of the fall, with the story being the exhaustion of the much bigger executioners. Gonzalez gets one of them up for a body slam, with the other executioner kicks him down, and that's the finish. The executioners retain.
Of course, the executioners win.
When are the commercials? I'm over all this old ass wrestling.
When did the
They
commercial-
didn't sell things back in the 70s.
Yeah, they did. They had
Oh.
Chrysler Park Avenues and Dino
You get a
Oil.
1976 Peugeot.
You could get
Peugeot.
the Wall Street Journal delivered directly to your door.
with a how do you save money? Now that you bought the subscription, we're going to tell you how to save money with this pamphlet.
I must say, Danucci and Gonzalez were over with the crowd.
You know, it is crazy. Outside the main event, I mean, this was the hottest they were the whole night. Now, granted,
they were-
the rest of
this-
the matches,
this match was going nuts.
the rest of the matches from here on out weren't exactly barn burners, but I mean, the main event was, but the
I was
cage
gonna
match
say,
was.
I think the very last match.
Well, the second tag match was also hot.
Putski was over.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, so yeah, well, let's get into it. So match 4, I did not see this one coming a mile away. Bruiser Brody with the Grand Wizard, who we've discussed on the show and love him dearly, takes on Kevin Sullivan. That one from the Dungeon of Doom. Sullivan with a whole head of hair is weird. And originally I had a note and I had to take it out because originally I did not know it was Kevin Sullivan and I was not aware of his height. I just saw his hair and his purple trunks. And I originally said Bruiser Brody taking on the mayor of the Lollipop Guild. And
Glad you took it out so you could just say it. Good job.
And then I saw it was Kelvin Sullivan, and I was like, oh, I don't want people to think I was making a height joke because that's not what I was doing at all. It's just how he looked. Looked like the Dutch boy.
It's funny because you're short.
Brody is absolutely massive here in 1976. Is to no one's shock, he dominates and wins with a torture rack.
I think I'm gonna send in a message to Kevin Sullivan on his new podcast and ask him his thoughts on Bruiser Brody.
Tuesdays with the Taskmaster.
Ouch.
Only available on
Ouch
after
are
shows.
probably his thoughts.
Brody didn't sell anything in this match. He could probably kill all these dudes anyway. But I have a hard time getting behind guys that never sell and they're never vulnerable to anything.
Someone in Puerto Rico didn't subscribe to that either.
I did like the torture rack finisher though.
Well, there is a guy later on this show that was very similar to him, especially in Japan. To that philosophy, I should say.
By the way, Brad Williams' cousin is upset that you called him a member of the Lollipop Guild.
Kevin Sullivan?
Yep.
Again, I didn't know it was Kevin Sullivan at the time. He's clean shaven also. And he had hair. Very well coiffed hair.
So if it were someone that you didn't care about, you'd have been fine making that joke?
Yes.
Okay.
Now that I've met Kevin Sullivan, I like him. And I didn't
I've met you two and I like you two, but I'll still... Never mind.
Well, I don't know him that well.
Is this a fever dream, Bruiser Brody and the devil himself in WWWF? That's weird.
I wish Sullivan would have been over by now and doing that gimmick because this actually could have been very interesting if that were the case.
No, because
Bruiser would just not have sold anything anyway.
Yeah, it was what it should have been. Bruiser Brody was a monster. It was a squash match. but I didn't remember him being in the WWF.
He wasn't a lot.
And my comment was Brody's looking like the original Ultimate Warrior in this match, not selling anything. Squash.
I think I've heard early on in Hogan's run as champion, so 84, 85-ish. Had to been 85 because he won in December of 84. There were talks that they were going to bring in Bruiser to
Yeah, that wasn't gonna happen.
to feud with Hogan, and after, because Vince Jr. wasn't familiar with Brody, right? This is still Vince Sr. running the show in '76.
Yeah, but Vince was calling this, so he was obviously involved.
But I don't think he may have known the backstage dealings, but maybe not in great detail. I don't know. But I think once he figured out, because again by 84 or 85, Bruiser's even bigger than as he is now, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll work with Hogan. I'm not putting him over." And Vince was like, "Well, never mind then." And they brought in Pipe. Well, they already brought in Piper. I think that's when they started bringing in Bundy. Match 5. Every show we do of old school. Baron Mikhail Cicluna and Rocky. I thought it said Rocky Tomato, but it was Rocky Tomeo. Take on Billy White Wolf and Chief J Strongbow. Strongbow starts off on top after it takes forever to get the mics out of the ring. Cicluna gets tagged in, and immediately the ref grabs Cicluna's pee-pee. Did any of you catch that?
I missed that. Sorry.
So Cicluna gets tagged. Tomeo tags in Cicluna. And apparently, Vince did a terrible job of explaining this. Cicluna's gimmick at the time was he always had a foreign object in his trunks. Always. And he used it a lot in the match later. But they just didn't say it beforehand. So when he comes in the ring, the ref literally stops him and grabs him around the waist and looks like he just grabs his dick.
Well, maybe he wanted a handful.
He's like, "Hey, before you get sweaty, let me get a honk in there. Now you go get him, Tiger."
Is that cheese?
They didn't have Gold Bond yet. They said he was checking for weapons, but I'm not buying that shit. The WWF is absolutely awful at hot tags here. They just crawl over and make the tag. This is what would become a typical animated tag team match, and for Strongbow, and these matches were his specialty. Wolf hits a clothesline for the win.
The announcer originally announced that this match was 2 out of 3 falls, and I was going to turn this shit off.
So we were texting each other around this time, and this is when I told you, "Hey, if you guys want to do the notes, I'm ready to take a break."
And in case you were wondering, he kept saying the main event will follow. The main event will follow this bout.
Please don't leave. Please don't leave. Please.
Strongbow was crazy over there. I just don't get it. Dude was so old.
Correct. But I can believe Vince would have been losing his mind if that mic hadn't been pulled up like it was. That literally 30 seconds. They're trying to get the mic out of the ring. It's a guy with a rope. What? Do it. Pull.
What, is he smoking up there?
By the way, Strongbow was 48 here.
That's crazy.
In a weird twist, Billy White Wolf would go on and be General Adnan because he's Iraqi.
That was Adnan O'Casey?
Yes.
Wow.
So, of these Native Americans, one is Italian, the other one is Iraqi. Not a single one of them anywhere near Native or American.
Wow.
You're welcome.
But both were from Oklahoma.
What?
Adnan O'Casey's from Oklahoma?
Yes.
No, he's from Iraq.
He grew up and went to high school in Oklahoma.
Well, they moved him there.
Yeah. But I said he's from Oklahoma, bitch.
That's
He's
crazy.
not. He's from Iraq.
Raised in Oklahoma.
Just
Where
like you're from Kentucky, ho.
I was born
But
in
you were
Cincinnati.
born in Ohio.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you're still Kentuckian.
Kentuckian.
Whatever it's called.
Hmm.
Sister banger.
I was just going to say, I want this to continue, and Dave proved my point.
I'm the Indiana fatty hunter.
Yes.
You? And I live here. What? Match 6. Bruno Sammartino defends the title inside of a steel cage against the bounty hunter from Borger, Texas, Stan the Lariat Hansen. I mean, he wasn't known as the Lariat.
Teeny Wanger.
Stan Hansen. We've literally said Teeny Wanger since the beginning of the show, and he is the reason why. Not because he has one. I don't know that or not, but
He
he
says
said
it no holds barred.
Yeah.
That's why.
Vince McMahon said at the start of the show that this cage was 15 foot tall. And if that's true, the ring announcer is 12 foot tall.
He was.
This was a really good, hard hitting match, even for 76. And the story here is Bruno's getting revenge for Hanson breaking his neck a few years earlier.
No, like a few months earlier.
That's what I said. A few months earlier.
Bad storytelling. They're like, back in April, he broke the guy's neck, and here we are in August for him to get revenge. What?
Well, it took Austin 5 months, so I mean, sure. Hanson keeps trying to escape, but Bruno stops him as he's more interested with punishing Hanson than beating him. And we saw a lot of his ass, Stan Hansen's ass in this match. Bruno starts using Hanson's loaded elbow pad against him, then walks out of the front door for the win to the delight of the crowd. I liked this cage match. I thought it was very good. And they didn't do anything stupid, nothing dangerous, just a good, solid, hard-hitting cage match. I liked it.
A 1970s steel cage match. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Although I thought Hanson looked like late 90s Barry Windham here.
I agree. If they would have said he was anyone's name other than Stan Hansen, I would not have known that was Stan Hansen.
Wyndham would have had to gain about 50 more pounds to be Hanson here.
Late 90s Barry Windham.
And new Blackjack.
Okay, maybe. I don't know.
How are the fans not tired of San Martino by this time?
Because he had a broken freaking neck.
I would have been cheering on Hanson to break his neck again.
Well, let's see here. So what was Pedro champion for? 2 years?
Not
I believe.
even, I don't think.
And then you had 2 interim champions in between. So Bruno first won the belt in 1963. It's 1976. So he'd been champion 11 of the previous 13 years at this point. And he would actually lose the belt later this year to Billy Graham.
Yeah. Superstar, not the preacher.
Correct. Well, no, actually, it was the preacher first.
Oh.
And then Superstar won it from him later.
Oh.
There wasn't a lot of wrestling in this match, but I didn't hate it.
A lot of punching.
They were beating the hell out of each other.
I mean, Hanson was bleeding.
Yep.
It was good, though. I never could get with the whole escape in the cage thing.
Don't like
got beef and you're in a cage. Fight till there's a winner.
Especially because, I mean, Bruno makes it very clear his goal is to beat up Hanson. And then eventually he's just like, to hell with it, and just walks out the door.
To be fair, he did beat the hell out of Hanson before he walked out the door. Stan had some luscious locks here, though. They were fabulous. Bruno over with his crowd as he was until Hogan, basically.
Yeah.
And I agree. These guys made it look like a real fight. It wasn't like there were no flying head scissors in this matches. It was, I'm going to punch you, I'm going to kick you, and I'm going to punch you and kick you some more.
I would dare say this cage fight holds up today.
And when San Martino left the cage, the crowd blew up crazy.
This is home away from home. Match 7, Bobo Brazil takes on Raggedy Andy. What's that?
Who?
I'm being told that's Gas House Gilbert, Vince McMahon called him. Love that the two wrestlers immediately start attacking each other, and the ring announcer says, "To hell with you guys, I'm finishing my announcements." He said he got all the announcements in while they're fighting in the ring. I loved it. A few headbutts, and this is wrong. I put a few headbutts from Brazil. It was one headbutt from Brazil, and Gilbert just walks away. 35 seconds.
Yes, this is my kind of match. What the hell kind of name is Gas House?
It was better than Shit House.
It was actually Doug Gilbert, is who it was.
I know, but it's not the Doug Gilbert that's related to Eddie Gilbert.
Same thing. Same guy.
This Doug Gilbert's related to like Fred Gilbert. Stevenson.
Gilbert Gottfried.
He's related to Carrot Top.
35 seconds. Not even a second per year of Bobo's life at this point. He was 52.
52. And we had, so between him and Strongbow earlier, 100 years between the two of them. Match 8. Ivan Putski takes on Skandor Akbar, who was probably in his late 40s by now. When Putski comes out, the bottom of the screen flashes with Polish power. More of the high-powered technology Timmy was talking about earlier. Akbar chokes Putski under the top rope for like 8 minutes, and the referee doesn't seem to give a shit. Then Putski hits the Polish hammer for the win. It was that fast. That's the end of the show.
I love it. Putski says to the crowd, he's going to send Akbar to Tel Aviv. Why are you going to send the Iranian to Israel?
Should have just sent him back to Dallas.
Location's not important. Over there somewhere.
He's Polish. He doesn't get it.
Not good geography.
I've never seen Putski with hair. I was expecting the old bald guy.
He had it all over his body.
I didn't recognize him.
He didn't just have it on his head.
I didn't recognize this version of him.
He looked like step hens on steroids.
I'm surprised TJ didn't make a comment about the finish with Putski using the earthquake splash.
Earthquake did it way better.
Well, yeah. I never would have saw that coming from Putski, but I saw that and I go, shit, TJ's going to love that.
Well, Putski doing this splash is like getting hit with a dirty diaper. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
You saying he shit his pants?
It's unfortunate, but I'll survive.
Putski is built like a brick shit house here. Holy
huge.
Shit.
But the back knee.
Apparently, they didn't believe in finishing maneuvers in the WWWF. It was just like random crossbody, random body slam with an ass sit.
Well, that's the thing. Is I like to consider myself somewhat of an historian of wrestling because I've watched and read back to the 30s and the 40s of the NWA. I can't tell you Bruno's finisher. I don't think he had one.
The Pittsburgh Plunge.
That was Shane Douglas.
The Pittsburgh Plancha.
The Pittsburgh Plancha.
Plancha.
Can we please do shirts again so that can be a shirt? Why are we not doing shirts anymore?
They're expensive.
If you enjoyed this week's episode and would like a t-shirt, please let us know. Review, rate, and subscribe wherever you get this podcast. Make sure to follow the show on Twitter at FF Popcast, on Instagram at Filter Free Popcast, our Patreon at Filter Free Net on Twitter, and also, of course, our network.
The network.
At Watch on Premiere. As for us, you can find us on our social media platforms at Dave.
I probably need to change mine. It's at Dave in the QC, but I'm no longer in the QC.
You're not in the QC.
You can change it. There's an edit button.
There is.
I know.
It's $8, but
I've changed it numerous times.
Timmy C.
At Timmy C 1979.
And I am at T Stevens 91. Next week, we're going to go from one man announce booth to another. We're going to cover ECW Hardcore Television, Timmy's favorite from August 28th, 1999. A ton of baseball records go down. Shakira goes unplugged. Michael Johnson's really fast. And so much more. We're going to have to edit that out. This has been the Filter Free Podcast. And so long for now.
Joke of the week. What is 6.9?
An earthquake?
A good thing ruined by a period.
Say goodbye.
How can he say that? And then you're going to say you're going to play Boys to the Men.
We've had
The good times that made us laugh.
except for the period.
Corn.